I've always looked for contrast, you know, certainly doing, you know, quite a amount of stage work to camera work, and they offer different challenges. And I've somehow managed to avoid being pigeonholed into a type of role, particularly. Sir Jorah, unable to get the lady, and Mrs. Wilson getting them all, and some. So, you know, that shows my huge range. Funnily enough, Mrs. Wilson came really sharp on the back of shooting the final season of Thrones. But weirdly, it took place in Belfast. I read the script and I said, no, I like the role, and oh, great, we get to go to India. But no, we get to go to Belfast because that's where we shot it. Two very different things, but shot in the same place.
and find this. You've been like a detective. Iain, what a part! What a man! Wouldn't you like to meet him?
I would.
Oh, jeez, the questions we would all have.
No,
remarkable.
No, he was extraordinary. But you know, I came to it obviously completely fresh and just read it as a screenplay,
sure.
You know, and quite extraordinary story. But in some ways, I kind of gift a part on for screen, because camera's very good at sort of trying to find out what's going on under the surface, and he was such an enigma. And if Ruth and her family, after all this research, hadn't quite worked out where he was coming from, then I certainly wasn't going to, and sort of didn't want to in a way. It's one of those where you play the story, you play each beat as it is, and leave the audience to kind of make up their own mind. But more than anything, I felt he was a good soul, and he was a patriot, and he put his life on the line for his country, and without shadow of a doubt, he profoundly believed in that, whatever he was. And it's hard for us to kind of get our heads round that in the age that we live in.
No, that's true, but it's also that sense of betrayal, I guess. I don't know, you wonder what was going on in his mind when he was with these different women, different families. You know, that's really strange.
Yeah, we still don't know quite whether it was for work purposes or did he really fall in love with each of these women. I mean, I personally felt he did fall in love with them, but I don't know whether we suggest perhaps number 2 was for work motives, but I mean, we still don't know for sure.
He lived in his mind and very successful, and he was very, very good at what he did. So I think just grey areas started to appear around what was reality and what wasn't for him.
Now, when you're doing something, and Ruth, for you, because this is your story, this is your family story, was it more pressure on you? Was it more difficult to do?
Yeah, so it was one of the hardest things I've done, definitely, because you have the pressure of delivering the story, but protecting your family, making sure all the members of the family that are seen on TV, but also their mothers are served and their fathers are served in the correct way, or how they'd like to be seen. So we made sure all the scripts were seen by all the family members and that they had a say. And then also playing my grandmother, who I couldn't quite conjure her in my mind. I remember when she died when I was 22, so I knew her relatively well. Sure. And she lived around the corner, but of course she was a woman full of secrets. And I remember her really as the woman that we find in episode 3, not the woman before that. So I had to go through all her poetry and her memoirs, and it was an amazing privilege to discover and to play and to get under the skin of someone that had been in your life for so long that you didn't actually know that well.
It is remarkable.
I think she's amazing that you did it.
I know.
I have to say, to put that together and to develop it and have it the way it is now.
Have all the family seen it?
Yeah.
What did they think?
We had a screening last Sunday, and it was amazing. There was 45 of us.
Big extended family.
Yeah, all the family members from across the country, and it was amazing. It brought us all together. Every time we meet, we get closer and closer. Yay. And we have a family tie, a family tartan. So they all the men, all the boys are wearing their tie. I call them the boys. It's my dad and my uncle.
No, it's the boys. It's fine.
And there was like a 4-minute silence after it, because I think, you know, watching themselves played out, watching their stories dramatised, is so profound. It's so different from reading it on a page or even telling each other, but actually seeing yourself. And your 18-year-old self, like my dad, seeing his 18-year-old self on screen.
I loved it. I mean, people will love it as a drama. But I loved watching it, knowing all of these different things. It just adds to it.
I think it does add to it.
So many layers. So many layers to be watching.
And
you can watch it as a straight drama, of course you can. But there's so much else going on.
To know it's true, to know it's actually happened, do you think that is... I mean, it's, you know, stranger than fiction. And but it is bizarre. And we still don't know all the truth. And that's what's... amazing about the story is there's still things that keep uncovering as we go on.
And of course, we're going to see you in Luther later on in the year, aren't we?
Well,
next year, maybe.
I can't possibly say.
Maybe, perhaps. And Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Did you have the biggest party in the world when that all finished?
About 15 parties.
Yeah, 15 parties. There's the rat
How do you manage still to stay alive, though? Everybody else is dead.
I know. I sort of, I don't know how I did either. I got every disease known to, but I thought it was hard. But April is when it's all coming out, and they'll be the last, and they're all feature-length episodes, 6 of them.
It's like 6 movies. We'll be watching 6 movies.
Exactly,
yeah. Definitely.